Hello again, I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to American Outback. And to all my American viewers, I hope you had a happy Independence Day yesterday. So, we have plenty of stuff to do today here on American Outback. We need to refeed our cows. Now, between episodes, I did do just a little bit of contract work across the various different fields. I went around and added some fertilizer to some of the various different fields there just to gain a little bit of extra cash. And what I did with that was add in an extra 9 cows, and then in speeding time up to get through to the start of today, we also bred an additional cow. So we've gained 10 cows from the last episode. We're up to 81 now, and obviously we are going to have to do a fair bit of feed work to get them topped up. We also need to start prepping our supplies because we don't have much left, unfortunately, in the way of feed for our cattle. So if we look around the corner, we are fine on straw. As you know, we have 16 bales here already and waiting for us. We have 8 bales of silage left, which is enough for a couple of good loads, but unfortunately we only have these 2 bales of straw left, of hay left. So we are going to have to do some hay work. In terms of our own fields that we own, they are in their first stage of growth still. They've just been planted, so they're not in first stage yet. They've just been planted, so we're waiting for them to hit that first stage of growth so that we can then start to apply that second layer of fertilizer to our fields. So until that happens, then what we're going to do is, as I say, start prepping our supplies. Now, I got rid of our tedder that we had because with the mould we no longer needed something quite that big, so I downgraded to a slightly smaller, cheaper tedder. This is the smallest one available in the game. The Vicon has a 6-meter working width, and what I've also done is bought a trailed lifter from Gregoire Besson as well. This is part of the Big Bud DLC that came with the 10.5-meter plough, and the reason we have that is because to help speed time up, we're going to try and ted the grass as we mow it. Oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups, I'm trying to suppress them. So, I'm just going to drop the header there for us. Actually, no, we need to pull the header out so I can actually connect up to it. Let's park the trailer up out of the way just here. There we go, that'll do. Nice and out of the way, so we'll drop the header off. Now we'll connect up to it. And I'm working on an assumption here. I'm assuming that this is actually going to work. I haven't actually tried it yet. If it doesn't, then I've kind of wasted 15 grand with that trailed lifter. But the plan is to connect the trailed lifter up to this and then ted the grass as it's rowed up by this self-propelled mower here. So let's connect up to that. There we go. Now we have to the south of us, just over there. We're going to go in and cut the grass over there and ted it at the same time, and then we'll come along and bale it and bring it back and store it over here. Going forward, eventually some of the smaller fields that we have, so fields like field 2 and possibly even field 6, will get grassed out, and we'll be working on larger fields. So when we get up to having 4 and 5, we'll combine those and turn them into a grain field. 8 and 7 will get combined, turned into a grain field. Fields like 18, 17, 10, they're all big enough to be, good sized grain fields. And the smaller fields like 2, 3, 6, maybe even 20 will get grassed and turned into meadows that we can actually plough. So let's lower that down, unfold it. I need to lower and turn on the header and turn on that as well. So this should work. And yes, it does. Fantastic. So there we go. We have our mower going and we're tedding it as we're going. And because we're getting nice, single rows, we should still be able to just bale this up all that, 5 meters worth of grass is all being fed into a single row. It's being tedded and staying roughly in a single row. So we should be able to bale all that up in one easy go, which means we can make a nice, good sized amount of hay. Now that we have, over 80 cows, we need to kind of start stockpiling some feed so that we don't have to do this on a massively regular basis. So I'm going to carry on sort of tedding the rest of this field, and I will catch up with you in just a moment. This is the other reason why I decided to swap out our tedder as well, because I knew that running up and down a field like this, creating rows, the last tedder we had wasn't that expensive. It's only 16,000 brand new. We got a fraction under 14 when we traded it in, but it was an extra 2 meters in width, and because the mower header is only 5 meters wide, there becomes the very real risk that as you go alongside, you actually interfere with the row next to you that you've already done. And I didn't want to create, this mass spill of hay suddenly popping up everywhere as the tedder caught the previous row. Especially when we get to tight areas like this, you might see, there we go, a little clip where we just caught the edge of that previous row, and it immediately just started spreading all over the field. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of having this self-propelled mower, in the sense that it rows everything up nice and neat for us, and if we're careful, we can keep it relatively neat as we ted it at the same time, so that we cut out the need to have to row it again afterwards. We can just go along with the baler and just pick it up. And obviously if we have a tedder that's too wide, then it's going to hit quite a lot every time it goes alongside another row, and it's going to start spilling it all over the place and making a big mess. And seeing as we don't have a windrower anymore, we can't clear that mess up afterwards. So all I'm doing here is capture every single piece of this field. I just need to make enough hay to make a good number of bales. So we'll do all of this field, and then once this one is done, we'll look at maybe doing the the field next to it just there as well. Although what I might do is I might bale that up for silage, because we don't have any other silage at the moment. It depends how much hay we get come out with at the end of this. If we come out with a lot of hay, then obviously we're going to be very nicely stocked on that, but we do still only have 8 bales of silage, and while that'll give us enough food for a couple of days, I don't think it'll allow us to fully fill up our feed bars for our existing stock of cattle, so we may have to make some more silage as well. So there we go, we've mowed and tedded all of that grass quite nicely, so let's move this equipment out of the way. We'll grab our baler and make a start on baling this up, and then depending on how much hay we come out with at the end, we may go and do another hay field just there, or we may actually use some of that to make some silage. We'll see how that goes. So we just need to clear this off the field first of all, and we'll park it here out the way just in case we need to go back in there again. So now we need just our Puma will do. There we go, and there's our baling setup. So everything is connected. And we've saved ourselves, effectively, depending on how you do it, a job or 2 jobs. If you go for a triple mower setup at the front and then a tedder at the back, as we have done in the past, then that's 1 job saved by not having to row it up afterwards. If you use mowers at the back, then we've saved ourselves the job of having to ted it separately and then row it up after that as well. So 1 to 2 jobs depending on the equipment that you've got or how you choose to play. And now we can, as cleanly and efficiently as possible, there'll be little spots that we'll miss and we'll clean those up at the end, but now we're basically going to go around and just scoop all of this up and see how many bales we come out with. So If you want to play along at home, have a guess how many bales we're going to get. I'm going to go with 14 bales. Let's see how many we get. Well, I was very wrong. If you guessed 14 bales or lower, then unfortunately you are out. So we have 1, 2, 3 stacks already, 2 in the back, plus a couple that we've made there. Although we did technically have almost an entire bale already in the machine. So let's see how many we do actually end up with. Okay, so let's see what the final tally is. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 full stacks. That's 24 plus these 2 here. That's 26 bales. So I was nearly, nearly double, under the estimate there. I knew my bid was pretty conservative. When I did that first full lap of the field, I realised just how conservative it was going to end up being. Once I'd already knocked out a full stack of 4 and I hadn't even gone around the field once. But I didn't expect it to be quite that drastic. So what we're going to do now is detach those things off there. We're going to head over and grab our forks and start loading all these bales around here. Okay, so we're going to start with the first of all we're going to start with those last 2 bales so that we can make the 2 existing bales that we had into a stack of 4. We're about square, I think. Slightly off centre. That looks pretty good to me. There we go. Unclamp. Beautiful. Slightly wonky, but it'll do. They'll straighten up as we tilt them out anyway, like that. So we'll push these into the back of the shed. Obviously we've got a lot of hay bales here. So we'll have 8 stacked up in front, simply because we have currently 8 silage bales. So everything else will be sort of stored away for a future date. I'm going to pull these 8 bales out, ready for use. I'm going to have to see if I can get really close in here so I can see what the forks are doing. See if they're square. They look pretty good. It's tricky when you've got confined spaces like this and you can't really see what you're doing. Just a little bit of lift, bit of tilt. We're going to stack these. I need to be careful I don't get them too close to the barn, otherwise they'll accidentally sell them. We'll stack them just here, out of the way. There we go. So let's get that second stack. Looking pretty square. Little lift, tilt, and clamp. There we go. Yeah, the only real issue with the shed is that little clearance issue. We don't have a lot of space. I had initially planned, obviously I've got my 2 tractors in sheds like these, my 2 case tractors. I had planned to put Big Bud 450 in there right next to them, but because of that sort of lip that sticks down underneath the sort of roof ledge there, it's too tall. It won't fit in. The exhaust and air filters collide with the that upper structure, which is why it's ended up parked up in the same long shed as the combine harvester, because it won't fit in those smaller ones where I'd hoped to put them. So a bit of a shame, but there's not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately. So I'm going to grab the rest of these bales and get them all stacked up inside that little shed, and then obviously we'll have 2 stacks outside so we can mix up some tea. Okay, so we have all the bales stacked up nice and neatly now. It's time to grab our feed mixer, which is just over here. I wonder if there's anything left in here actually. It should be empty. Yes, it is. So, if you remember from the last time we fed our cows, we're going on a straight 50-50 mix of hay and silage because we have plenty of straw bedding down. Or we did. We might actually have to put some more straw down as well. We'll check our animal menu in just a second. So I want to pull this back around. There we go. See our little Lely Juno hard at work there, keeping our feed area nice and clean. Keep those cows at optimal productivity. So let's drop that just there, like so. So that'll hold 4 bales, 16,000 litres in total. So we're going to be doing a 50-50 mix, so that's 2 bales of silage, 2 bales of hay. Let's start with the 2 bales of silage, seeing as we're here. There we go. Should have seen that coming. Come on. In you go. Go on. There we go. Right, so it's 2 bales of silage. Now we need 2 bales of hay. So let's grab the first 2. Here we go. Hook them up. And this time we'll attack from the side rather than from behind. We shouldn't have any of those issues again. He says, hopefully. There we go. So we have 16,000 litres there. So let's check out an animal interaction box. We have some straw, not a huge amount, but we have some. Let's top that up. Actually, how much do we have there? 14,000, and we're less than halfway. So a full stack of 16,000 litres, you know, a stack of 4 bales should all go in. So we're going to grab an entire stack, and that should be enough to top up our straw. There we go. And while we're at it, we'll also take this around with us as well, so that once we're done we can unload. Plus it will also give me a little bit of a counterbalance against the weight of these at the front as well. So let's drop the straw in first of all. There we go. It's all gone in. And look at that, our straw almost full. So we won't get another bale in. That's fine. So now let's drop in our food. And what this should do is come out as power food as well. And you can see both bars are going up there. Beautiful. So because we have the straw bedding down, we don't have to put straw into the mix that we're making to create power food, because they have that straw already. I'm not sure if that works on every map or if it's only working on this one because the straw is here at the food trough. I'm not entirely certain, but in theory that should work on every single map. So let's go back and mix up another batch. We've got enough to make 4 more batches, 3 more batches, and then that'll be it for our current stock. So this time we'll do it the other way around, just to show that it can be done either way. We'll do it with straw, with hay first. Hook in. There we go. Tilt up. And once we have the money, I will be upgrading to a larger food trough now that we have, you know, a large number of cows. We started with 50, we're now at 81. So as we're getting ever closer to that sort of magic 100 mark, I will be looking to replace our current food mixer with the large pecan mixer that's available as a mod that holds 64,000 litres, which is 3 times as much as we have here. Actually, no, it's not 3 times, it's 4 times as much. These hold 16, so double that is 32, double that again is 64. So 4 times the amount of food. Basic maths failed me for a moment there. But if we pull up the help menu, there we go, you'll see that it says that our straw is empty and that we basically just have a 50-50 mix of hay and silage. It's not quite the same colour there as it would be if it were normal power food. But as I say, because we have the straw down in the bedding area, it comes out as proper TMR. As you can see, it's a little bit darker coming out as it is inside the mixer. Trying to avoid getting in the way of our little Juno there. Oop, just avoided him. So here we are with our final load now of TMR. As that goes in, let's take a look at our animal chart. You can see we are above 50% on the feed now. We do need to top up the water, and we are definitely going to need to top up the grass as well. So we will have to do a little bit more mowing just to get the grass, and we'll knock up some bales with that as well. So the mixer, we'll leave that just there for a second. Let's go hook up our water trailer. Should be... Where is our water trailer? Oh yes, our water trailer is over with our greenhouses. We need to kind of check on those as well. So if in that case, what I'm going to do is put this baling setup away, because we don't need that now, at least not for a little while anyway. So let's grab the rear weight. There we go. Let's go put everything back in the shed. Actually, we'll leave the stuff down here because we will need it later. So we won't stick it all the way at the top. We'll leave it down here with the straw. So, having learnt from previous experience, make sure that you always detach the claw at the front before you detach the front loader itself. Otherwise it'll stand up at an angle that you won't be able to then connect back up to it. And now we'll drop the weight off as well. There we go. So, what do we need? Oh yes, we need to mow, don't we? So we could have left all that equipment connected. Never mind. I was thinking of having mowers again. So what I need to do is detach that. There we go. And also need to reattach this. And we don't need a lot of grass. I'm guessing probably a single stack of 4 bales will be enough. But let's just go find a small strip of grass. A headland will do. We don't need, or even a verge. We could even just do it in here, in with the cows themselves. But we'll do that side verge on the side of field 2 there. Just enough to basically get, you know, a stack of 4 bales. And I think that'll be enough grass. I don't think we'll need much more than that. So everything seems to be lowered. Let's check. Yep, that's lowered. There we go. So turn everything on. Baler is on. Header is down, switched on. So off we go. And that hay that we had in there, that 3,000 litres of hay, will immediately convert to grass. Kind of handy the way the baler does that. Not very realistic, but quite handy. Obviously we will need to do some proper silage baling at another point. Although we could just carry on working on that silage that we have in the clan. We don't have a lot, but we have some. We could just add a bit more to that, squash it down, and then just have that on hand. So, do a couple of bales and then just scoop the rest in with a bucket on the front loader. But for now, we'll just get ourselves a stack of 4 grass bales. Alright, so we have our stack of 4. Now what I'm going to do is essentially just drop these straight into the grass trough. Now, until they are physically disconnected from this stacker, they will not be sort of recognised because they will still count as part of the equipment. But, whoop, should have seen that coming. As soon as I disconnect them, as I release them as part of the unload process, they should start to drop in. So I'm going to need to do a little bit of creative reverting. Oh, actually, no. That's fine. So let's, there we go. If I unload them here, as soon as I hit release again, they should start to disappear. There we go. Beautiful. So how much grass do we have now? Plenty of grass. On a par with the kind of level of food that we have. So now we just need to worry about our water. So let's go and move this equipment out of the way. Let's fold that up and lift that up and fold that up as well. There we go. Turns out there was a mental reason why I had removed the logging gear. I'd already kind of worked it out in my head without kind of connecting the dots straight away. Obviously I needed the manure fork to come over here to get the water trailer and also to potentially top up our manure as well. So let's have a look. Yeah, they're running really low. So we do have some manure left. We are definitely going to... Oh, we're focused on the bucket. That was a bit weird for a second then. A little disorientating. Getting stuck on the wrong camera angle there. Let's fill up our poop scoop. There we go. And we'll clamp that so I can tip it and not drop it all over the place. Well, this will more than fill this here. They hold 3,000. We're obviously holding, 3,500 here. So the remainder will go straight into the next one as well. Oh, it's a little bit less that we'll need to scoop up. So we've got 764 left. So that means we will need... we have 34... So that's 27. That's roughly how much we're going to need. Oh, that's too much. There we go. That's too much anyway. But we're going to have to tip the rest back here anyway. So we may as well not be as precise as we need to be. Let's just get it all done properly. Make sure everything's full. Ooh. Should have brought the weight. There we go. Alright. A little bit of Outback radio for you there. Our workhorse bucking and kicking, trying to throw us off there. So we'll just tip that last little bit back out again. We've got a couple of scoops worth there yet still, so no major rush to bring more round just yet. I would like to potentially get another couple of greenhouses in here at some point in the not too distant future as well. They have been really helpful in generating a little bit of income for us. But if the manure was that low, our water's going to be almost gone as well, if not completely gone. So we're going to need the help window for this, so that we can see that information pop up as to just what the fill levels are at. Just for curiosity's sake, I mean we don't need them to fill, but just for curiosity's sake I would like to see exactly what levels they're at. So let's back this trailer right up. There we go. 31% for the water, that's not too bad, but only a few hundred litres left as you saw there. So there we go, fully stocked. Let's move on to the next one. Fantastic, so there we go, our greenhouses are perfectly stocked, ready to go. They will continue to produce that little bit of money for us each hour to help combat the effects of our daily maintenance and worker fees and so on and so forth. So let's go give some water to our cows now, get them nicely hydrated. It's a nice short trip. Not too far at all. And we can actually use up quite a bit of water just here. Yeah, we have gained quite a lot of extra cows since we first filled them up, and I can't remember how much they used that time. So we could use quite a fair bit of this water here. Let's see how much we use. About 13,000 litres, about half, almost half the trailer. So that's not too bad. Alright. I'm not going to be able to turn here, am I? No. Not quite wide enough. About here. Oh, it's close. Just about get away with that. Alright, I'm going to go drop this back off and then we'll assess exactly where we're at. So let's just take a stock of exactly where we are with our cows now. So as you can see, 81 cows, fully 100% productive, 100% cleanliness, that's fine. Our Juno is doing its job. Plenty of water now, plenty of bedding, plenty of grass, plenty of silage, hay and power food. We can afford to leave our cows alone for a few days again now, but we are going to have to at some point make some more silage ready for the next batch of power food that we're going to have to knock up. So we may do some more baling this episode. We may do that a little bit later in the future. Yet to decide. As you can see as well, our reproduction rate is looking nice and healthy. 14.4, yeah, 14 and 3/4 hours it takes per reproduction, and every time that happens, obviously that rate comes down a little bit. We're 5.5 hours away from our next cow. We're producing a generous amount of both liquid manure and solid manure as well, and we have 32,000 litres of milk, so we should get a nice little payday at the end of the day when the clock hits midnight as well. Let's check in with our fields. They should hopefully be ready to start working on now. And no, they are still in the planted stage. They haven't ticked over to that first stage of growth just yet. So, seeing as we're still waiting for that, I guess that we may as well maybe do some silage baling. Let's check our finances on the market prices here. We've got a decent price for canola, but we have no canola. It's I think that's what's growing at the moment, actually. Let's check our crops. Yeah, we're actually growing canola right now, so we have a good price and nothing to sell. And you watch, by the time we harvest what we have to sell, the price will be rubbish. So It's always the way, isn't it? We have got a decent looking price at Tombstone Grain going up for sunflowers, and we have a lot of sunflowers to sell. Uh, Nothing stellar in terms of prices for wheat or barley. We'll hang on to those for now. Same with corn. We do have one that's going over 800, which means that could well go green. I'll keep an eye on that one as well. We don't have wool to sell. In terms of manure or slurry, though, we could sell them, but the prices aren't great, and to be honest, we kind of need the slurry at the very least as a fertiliser. The manure maybe not so much. That's kind of fuel for our greenhouses. So instead what we'll do is get ready for a little bit more baling. I want to check how much money we have on our loan. We have $25,000 available, so how much is it to buy a bale wrapper? I know we probably can't afford one, but I'm curious as to how much they are. They're 54,000. Yeah, so we could hire one for 4 grand. That is something we could definitely do and make up another load of silage bales. Yeah, why not? Let's give that a go. So let's hire another one of these. We'll do them with black, and let's lease that. There we go. Oh, we don't have enough money. I'm going to have to take out a small additional loan just to be able to do that. There we go. Alright, so let's go pick up our bale wrapper, which means dropping that again. Back in a moment. So I'm actually bringing the baler with me as well, because I'm looking at saving a little bit of money in terms of our daily expenses, and also maybe just making a little bit of money in the process as well. How much can we get if we sell this? 65,000. So yeah, I'm going to sell it because I'm going to replace it with the one from this pack here. So by swapping it out for essentially the same but older baler, we're making 15 grand in profit, and we're saving ourselves just under $100 a day in maintenance costs as well. So if you do use the square baler pack here, then you can essentially just swap it out for this single axle square baler. It's operationally exactly the same, runs at the same speed, has less of a power requirement, has the same capacity, does exactly the same thing, can be connected up in exactly the same way as the other one, has a tow hook at the back which you don't have to pay extra for, and obviously costs you a considerable amount of money less in upkeep costs. So definitely worth making the switch. Obviously you can only have this in Massey branding, so that's something to be wary of. The only problem is we can't now connect that at the back because it's the wrong type of connector. We'll have to come back for our bale wrapper. But I've got all the baling equipment kind of stashed just around the corner, because we're going to attack the large chunk of grass that's opposite the sheep pen, and we're going to bale up in there. And then once we've done that, we're going to move to another area and we're going to bale up in there as well. We're going to really go for it while we've got these got this bale wrapper, and just make a ton of bales. We'll need the trailer to transport them all back to the farm. And once we have all of those bales, we won't have to lease a bale wrapper, hopefully, ever again on this farm, because we'll have a proper silage operation up and running by that point. So let's drop that there. Let's go back for the wrapper. So here we are at the sheep paddock. We're here at the sheep paddock now. I've dropped off the stacker because obviously we don't want to stack these bales. Not yet. We need to wrap them first. So let's go in and just make a load of grass bales in this area. We can be as efficient as we want to be in here, make as many bales as we possibly can, which is why I'm getting right up against the fence here. Get all these bales wrapped, and then we're going to move on to that long strip of grass just above us, just there as well. And then we're going to go and attack that piece of land, bale everything in there, get everything wrapped, and then all loaded onto a trailer and taken down to the farm. And that's probably going to be all we'll have time for. We'll see how things go. But I'm going to start jumping away, and I've just realised that right now I'm not actually collecting any grass. So I'm going to do a complete loop, and as I get back around, I'll just basically drive over everything that I've cut here. And with the baler turned on, start scooping up without cutting anything fresh. And then when that's all done, we can start a fresh cut. A little bit embarrassing there, not paying attention. So let's get that selected, there we go. Turn the baler on now, there we go. So now I'm basically just going to loop around the same path that I've just done and just pick up all that grass that I've already cut. And then once that's done, I can actually start cutting the rest of the field. So I'll catch back up with you in just a moment. Alright, we have finished baling, as you can see, on that field. So now we are going to head over to the other grass field, which is just here, and bale up all the grass in there as well. So it's time for round 2 of the bale game. How many silage bales will we have wrapped and loaded at the end of this sort of baling run? This is the combined total, not just on this field, but on the one that we've just done as well. So I have absolutely no idea, but I'm going to have a go at, say, 50 this time. Let's see what you guys think. Of course, it would help if I could actually have the right thing switched on. There we go. Now we can start making bales. So yeah, 50 is my guess, and let's see how we do at the end of it. Oh, and for the record, I didn't count how many that we did on the previous field. I absolutely have no idea how many we've already done. So I'm guessing, you know, completely blind on this. I was paying zero attention to how many we made on that last field. There we go. Baling is done. So now it's time to go on with the wrapping. Still haven't counted how many bales we have yet, so you know, keep those guesses going in your mind. We will find out in a little while just how many we have. Okay, the first field has been baled. So now it's, well, wrapped. So now it's time to get on with wrapping the second field. Bale wrapping is finished. It's time to start stacking and see what that final total of bales is going to be. You may have noticed I've been very careful to try and keep the bales out of screen as I've been moving around. That's so you don't get any sneak peeks at what's on the field. So time for me to start collecting these up into stacks of 4, and then we'll get our final number. Remember I said around 50. Let's see what we finally actually come out with. We got a total of 24 bales off that first field, and the one in here as well, so 25. That's halfway to my total. I don't think there's 25 on here, so it'll be close, but I think it'll be just under 50. Let's find out. Final tally, 42. So not as many as I was, expecting. I was a little overestimating this time round. Last time I was ultra conservative, and even then I was way off. This time a little bit closer, but overestimated just how many we would actually end up with. So need to bring those over now back to the farm. So for that I need the truck, and I'm going to need my bale trailer. I'm also going to need to bring the Puma back and pick up the logging claws. So last little bit to do, and then that's going to be it for the day. We're not going to have time to work on our fields, and they still haven't actually started growing yet. That can't be right, surely not. No, they still haven't. They still haven't ticked over, look, into the first growth stage. So looks like tomorrow is the day that game day tomorrow is going to be when we start doing our fertilizing. I can't believe they haven't started growing yet. Well, I've stacked them in such a way. Actually, I want to do the other field first because I've got those two loose bales there. I've stacked them in such a way that I can just drive the trailer into the field and then easily scoop them up and load them on bit by bit. So let's get the trailer into the field. There they are, nicely stacked. The trailer is parked up and ready. Just need to go and get the logging gear, not the logging gear, the bale spike gear back at the farm. So I will go get all that and get started loading up, and I will catch up with you again in just a few moments. Our baling operation is complete. We have 40 bales loaded on the back of this trailer. The other two that were left over, the loose ones, I went and sold those at the biogas plant just to generate a little bit of extra cash and a little bit of digestate as a bit of free fertilizer for later. But these 40, these will go into storage, and this will enable us to mix up quite a lot of TMR for our cows going forward, so that's all good. All that remains now is to unload these bales and get them put away into storage. I'll do that off camera, and that'll be all nicely stacked up when you come back next Wednesday. As for tomorrow, we head back to Oldstream for midweek Massey as we continue our Massey Manor reboot. On Friday we go over to Drummard for Fent Farm, and then Saturday we pay our second trip over to Mustang Valley for some more Big Bud Farm. So plenty of them this week. Please do keep an eye on the channel and check those videos out, and I will catch you all very soon.